Hello traders, this is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Daily Roundup webinar. I hope everybody's having a great trading session. So we've seen we're seeing a little bit of weakness in the equity markets, and I want to go into that here shortly. But I did tweet a chart, and I want to talk about it a little bit. This is the pound Aussie. Now let me get rid of this for a second. This is a weekly chart of the pound Aussie, and I tweeted something that said basically in a post-Brexit world, what's the risk reward here? Is it risk reward for longs or for shorts? And just digging a little bit deeper into this chart, let's talk about it really quick. So price has been declining, right? And RSI has been going higher, right? Oscillators, slow stochastics closing up. It's probably going to turn, well, if we get above like 180, it's going to turn, turn higher. It'll cross over and turn higher again, more than likely. So the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because, you got the sterling that's trying to break out today. We're above 137. We're getting comfortable above 137. That's good for sterling bulls, okay? But one of the things that you'll notice in recent history, especially, you have to kind of get rid of the last few years because of Brexit. But if you remove that out of the way and you talk about like a post-COVID world or a COVID world, right? When stocks sold off, and this is the S&P right here, stocks sold off, the pound Aussie ripped higher, right? You can see it was already trending higher, and then it just spiked up, ripped higher. Stocks came down here. Okay, a pound was probably selling off due to Brexit. We had another sell off here. You can see the pound Aussie rallied. Stocks have been moving higher, and you guys all know that the S&P is up against channel resistance. Everybody that's at least listening in here knows I'm looking at a chart that looks kind of like this, right? And we have a big, we overshot the big megaphone pattern in the S&P that looks something like this. Right, and this is a line chart, so just bear with me. It looks something like this, right? So my 2 cents is, well, at this stage in the game, we're at the upper end of the S&P range. We can probably sell off a little bit in the S&P, maybe back down to the range bottom. What does that do to the pound Aussie? This is just zoom in a little bit here. If you take this high right here on October 21st, you take this low, possible double bottom, by the way. Okay, 38% retracement comes in at 78 and change. This right here is a 618 retracement of this move right here, right there. Okay, so my 2 cents is if we get, well, first of all, if we get above the 618, it turns, I think it's that would be pretty bullish for today. But more importantly, if you get above the 78% retracement, 128, let's just call it 128 and a quarter, which would be the 38% retracement of this October drop, then you got a confluence, right? A confluence right here at 78, let's say roughly 78.50, 78.20, somewhere in that neighborhood. We might actually start to see a squeeze. And that obviously what has to happen at that point is you have to see stocks moving down at the same time, which, again, today I'm a little, let's go over to what's happening in the equity markets. You got, here's your range in the S&P, we're at the channel top, right? You got NASDAQ, channel resistance, 161% extension. If we close lower today, by the end of the day, especially like in the NASDAQ, like let's say the NASDAQ candle is still green, following yesterday's move. We close at the lows or, maybe even lower than the lows. And the S&P closes, down here. That would set up for a reversal, and not only the pound Aussie, I'm talking about, other crosses, which I'm really frustrated because I'm long the Euro New Zealand. It was doing really well, and then it got smacked down. It didn't hit my stop, thank goodness. We got a nice hammer, so in this wedge, so it's still constructive. I just, I'm so frustrated that it, turned so aggressively lower yesterday. But that looks constructive. Pound Aussie looks constructive. Pound New Zealand, we're still holding above this trend line here. Euro Aussie, respecting the lows. And if you're in the chat room, you already know that I've already got some of these longs established, different sizes. And, you might be asking, well, Blake, why don't we have a pattern in play for the pound Aussie? I bought it, I don't know, week and a half ago. I'm going to have to put in a pattern in play on a break above like the 177.50 or so on a resistance break or something. But what I was really going to hope for is a dip back down towards 175 to establish a confluence of supports pattern in play. But it's still something that I've nibbled on, and I want to be more aggressive. I just want to see stocks reciprocate. As I said, well, in the chat room, I don't remember if I said this during the FACE webinar or not. I think yesterday, for the inauguration, that was a big rally. Today was going to be a pullback or consolidation. Could we get a buy the rumor, sell the news? Like, the market was really excited about, more stimulus, and we got a new president, and, that we're going to get all, infrastructure spending, we're going to, but the market hasn't even taken into consideration like how we're going to pay for all this. So, will we get the buy the rumor, sell the news? And that's why today is going to be really important to watch how equities close by the end of the day. If they close lower, I'm going to have to start buying a little bit more of these crosses, and I'm in them already, but I want to be a little bit more aggressive because they tend to move higher when we're in a risk-off environment. Another thing I should point out too, the cable is trying to break out to the upside. Hold above the 137 will be key today. We do have this big 786 retracement, but even if the pound pulls back a little bit, what's more important to me trading these crosses is the Aussie reverses, the Kiwi reverses. And I did get wiggled out of the Kiwi dollar, but the Aussie, challenged its resistance. There's a lot, and I'm going to say this: some very influential banks that are very bullish the Aussie right now. Excuse me, I got to sneeze. Sorry about that, allergies. But there's some very influential banks that are very bullish the Aussie dollar right now. And if we break through this channel support, they're not going to be so bullish. And that's another way I'm looking at, the pound Aussie, Euro Aussie. I'd like to see the Aussie dollar start to worry longs. Once it starts worrying some longs like Aussie bulls, then that's what will make me more confident trading like the Euro Aussie, pound Aussie, things like that to the upside. The Kiwi, we didn't negate the head and shoulder pattern. We did break above that downtrend line, but you can see we're back below it today. So if we close with like a gravestone doji, that's going to be pretty bearish, the Kiwi. It means the bearish pattern that we had is actually still in play, and I just got wiggled out. And it made sense after rallying new all-time highs. It's like, okay, well, I've got to watch my risk here. But there are some pretty key developments. And, you take the Canadian, we had a push to new lows. I think Macklin said today about QE. Canada might not need as much QE. The dollar Canadian pushed to lows, stopped all the longs out, bounced right back up, and it's been holding up ever since. So, if the dollar Canadian closes at the highs of the session and we get a, hammer there, that'll be another positive development, positive suggesting some risk aversion. You see the dollar Mexican peso is also, as we talked about this morning, I wasn't really convinced on the breakdown here. And now here we are showing some reversals. So there are things showing in the currency market that we might get some risk aversion, but stocks are still, S&P is barely down. We're basically flat on the day. The Russell's weak, the Dow's weak, but the NASDAQ's still strong on the day. So there's a lot of time left in today. And the way North America is. North America always buys stocks, at least for now. That sentiment hasn't changed. It might be changing here, but it hasn't changed yet. So anyway, for those of you guys that are, you guys are all listening in here right now to us live, or to me live. So thank you all for your support. For those of you that are listening to the recording, hey, you only have a few days to jump in to the ForexAnalytix. It's our pricing will go up in a couple of days. So Brock, thank you for all your support. Thank the rest of you guys that are listening in, and I will see you tomorrow morning on the Face webinar. This is the last daily roundup of the week, since it is Friday. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow morning or in the chat rooms. Talk to you later. Bye.